your boy has seen it. Your boy just came back from the movies about 4 hours ago. You're probably hearing it is thunderstorming now. It is thunderstorms coming through New York, but besides the weather, yes, I told you guys, if you've been keeping up with the community feed, guys, I told you that I would be going to see Deadpool and Wolverine next week. Well, next week happened. Got out the gym, caught a 12:15 showing of Deadpool and Wolverine. Enjoyed it very much. Very, very much. And we got a lot to talk about. So, if you don't want to be spoiled, because there will be some spoilers in here, get out. I'll give you 10 seconds. Well, guess you want to hear. Well, what did I think of Deadpool and Wolverine? It's great. It was funny. I have not laughed so hard in my life. I was looking for a good laugh, and Ryan Reynolds delivered on that very much. It was such a great time to sit down and watch this movie where there was other people in the theater, and a lot of the people didn't know who these characters were, so that inner geek in me is coming out and screaming names and stuff so people can hear. Yeah, I do that sometimes, guys. I'm not really like, oh, that's this. No, I'm really loud. So I'm sorry. So this is what, the 34th movie under Marvel Studios, and this is their first or second rated R, and that's fine. The movie is killing it at the box office. Boy, did it make back its budget just like that. Last time I checked, let me get into this. Last time I checked, the budget was $200 million to make. Last time I checked, they had not only doubled, they tripled the box office. I think down there up to $853.1 million. They doubled. Yeah, they did it. They did it. But I very much love this movie. The concept was very simple. It made sense to understand, okay, if we're doing somewhat of the multiverse, then okay, what Earth does Wade come from? I like that they announced that he comes from Earth 100005. I was like, okay, that's fine. But the concept is very simple. You know, the TVA, we thought, you know, Axe basically tell Wade that his world is dying because every world has like a variant or a person that is like sacred to that world. And unfortunately, Wade's world is Wolverine was sacred to that world. And I love that they acknowledge that, yes, the Wolverine that we saw in Logan, that was the Logan, and they acknowledge it and they showed it. The opening scene is the funniest. I could not stop laughing that the music they used, and you got Deadpool actually doing the dance that NSYNC was doing in that song was hilarious. I was cracking up so it was funny indeed. So I really enjoyed that, and I even enjoyed, you know, him explaining what's been going on with Wade, like, you know, just in general, just, you know, he's selling cars and things like that, and he's trying to be different, and, you know, we see that Vanessa, aka Copycat, because that's who she is. I really wish she I really wish she was in her real look as Copycat. But you know, hey, I can't deny because Miss Marina Basarine, I believe I'm saying her name right. She's a gorgeous woman, so it's just like I don't care. But yeah, it was fun to see that like a lot of the old cast came back, and I'm like, whoa, they brought her. Wow, they brought that character. Wow, like wow. Wow. Yeah, I was just amazed that they were allow all these characters to come back, and that was fun. And then of course, yes, then we get into the main crust of it, where yeah, Wade is going. He needs to find a Wolverine, and I love the montages of the Wolverines. So the Wolverines we got, and shouts out to Hugh Jackman because we got a comic accurate Wolverine in this 5'3" me Wolverine, and I loved that. I was like, yeah, there he is, and there was one guy next to me like, why is he so small? I'm like, that's how he's supposed to be, you know. So it was really cool to see that. We got the John Burns Wolverine. I thought Hugh Jackman looked great in the brown and tan costume, and even that classic, you know. And then we saw, I love that Devil was like, wait, you're the classic John Burns. Oh wait a minute, you fought the Hulk, and then who's standing behind him? I thought that was hilarious. We got Age of Apocalypse Wolverine. Hugh killed it on that role too. I mean, Hugh had the big puffed up, rocked out hair. I was like, he looks great. The one arm, I was just geeking out every time we saw him crucifixed, like from X-Men, Uncanny X-Men number 251, I believe. So we got to see that. We got to see Patch, which was great. We got to see another Old Man Logan variant, which was great. Who kind of looked like Clint Eastwood, definitely. And of course, the big one, the big reveal, is seeing Henry Cavill as a variant Wolverine, and he looked great. I'm gonna just put it out there. Henry Cavill looked great as Wolverine. We have all in the geek community have been saying, okay, who would we want him to play, and to see him in with the cigar in his mouth, the sideburns, the hair, and he looked jacked. He was big, and you know, he sounded great. You know, it was cool to see. So I really enjoyed that. And then of course we get to the main Wolverine that's in this, and this was put another notch in Hugh Jackman's, you know, Hugh Jackman's belt, because he nailed it again with this character. He puts a new niche on this character. And of course, when they revealed the costume, I was like, yeah. And I love the reasoning for why he wears the costume. That was some deep shit right there. I was like, okay, all right, that makes somewhat sense. I actually like that. I thought that was really interesting. And I love that Deadpool would make fun of it. It's like, oh, after 20 fucking years, oh yeah, now you wear it. I had to laugh. I could not stop laughing in this movie, guys. It had me laughing my ass off. Leslie Ugram, who played Wade's, still was funny as hell. You know, I love when she's talking about, you got any coke, and he's like, you can't say that. Like, they're not allowing us to say that. I thought that was hilarious. All the nicknames, they know all the nicknames is the funniest stuff. I thought that was funny. But gotta give also a lot of credit to to Emma Corrin, who played Cassandra Nova. I thought she was great. I thought she was really good as Cassandra, and they really, I wouldn't say they really upped her powers, but they really made her powers and of course, scary. Like, it just shows, like, if a telekinetic or a telepath, what they can do to you if they want. I mean, there's scenes where she is just toying. She's like a cat playing with her food, and I'm like, God damn, like this thing. She's putting her hand through people's. I'm like, oh Jesus. But I read she never played a villain, and she was so excited to play a villain, so she got to play it, and she was inspired by like Christoph Waltz character, like the way he portrayed himself in Ignitus Bastards. So yeah, she did a good job, Cassandra Nova. I like that idea of the void and things like that. And yes, guys, I'm gonna get to all the cameos. Don't worry. So I really enjoyed her role. When the funny thing is, I was like, I really wish they don't kill her off. Like, she's damn near good. She was actually really good. I really enjoyed that. But of course, there had to have been some fights with Wolverine and Deadpool in this, and all the fights between Wolverine and Deadpool were great. I love how they choreographed a lot of them. This Wolverine was a lot more precise in getting the gutting with people, which I appreciated. Like, he knew where to strike and things like that. I'm like, yeah. I love the fact that at one point he said, let's see you, have I cut your goddamn head off? Let's see you grow that back. So, but I love the fact, like, they're just going back and forth, and it's just like, they're not really hurting each other. It's just they're gonna heal. Wade did lie to him, so it's the funniest thing. But once they get to the void, they get thrown into the void. That's where the fun started happening. So the first cameo we get is Chris Evans back as Johnny Storm, and I was like, okay, thank God I stayed away from all this. I stayed off the internet a lot because, they were getting like spoiled all the time. So I really enjoyed that. My only issue sometimes my only issue with him as Johnny, I don't know. He sounded more like he had a Boston accent. I'm like, why does he? I know Chris Evans is from Massachusetts, but I'm like, yeah, he really accentuated. He sounded like he had a New England accent instead of a New York accent. So I was really kind of interested in that. But I really liked that. And, when he fought Pyro, Pyro just, stopped his flame. Now, I didn't know there's probably some people that asked, could Pyro really do that? Could he really? I read there was one comic where Pyro did do it, like stop Johnny's flame. So I'm not, but the way he fell, I thought he was dead there. I'm like, oh. But, just seeing what happened to Johnny was fucked up. And I'm like, Wade, you dick. Like, why'd you do that? But the other cameos we saw a version of the Russian. We saw a new version of Juggernaut. Blob was there. Azazel, Psylocke, Lady Deathstrike, I think Quill, Toad. A lot of them were played by different actors, but except for Pyro and people like that. And I think there was a Bullseye there too. I can't remember, but I think I saw a Bullseye. But the real cameos came from the hero side, and that was beautiful. We had Jennifer Garner returning as Elektra, and shouts out to her. She came back. She looked like she was in great shape, and she pulled it off. I thought she was great. I'm not gonna sit here and lie that no, she was great. You had Wesley motherfucking Snipes back as Blade. He looks a little older, but still that same Blade that you know, and I thought he looked good. You had Daphne Keane return as X-23 lady, or Laura, and I love that, you know, Wade was telling the Wolverine here, he's like, that's her, that's X-23, that's the one, you know, and she's like, she even says, I prefer Laura. But the biggest shocker to me, the biggest surprise was Channing Tatum as Gambit. Mr. Feige, sir, I know you're not listening, but sir, hire that man back. That was Gambit. That was motherfucking Gambit. That's Remy LeBeau right there. He had the comic accurate costume. The only thing that was missing was his eyes. But outside of that, he even threw down the Cajun accent. Oh my God. You know what? It was so legit. There were times I didn't even understand what he was saying. I'm like, okay, that's a legit Cajun accent, because it's mixed with such strong French and Creole mix. Sometimes you don't understand it. So I really liked that. I thought that was really good to see that. I just kept looking at his costume. I'm like, oh my God, that's spot on. That's right straight from the comics. He had the you know, the guard over his head. He had that pink armor. He had the high silver boots. The everything about it was great. And I love how they explain it. Like, yeah, there are other heroes there. They said Punisher. They said Daredevil, Quicksilver. You know, there was even a Doctor Strange there. You know, it was crazy just to see how many. And Cassandra killed most of them. And I love how she even explained, like, yeah, she's Charles Xavier's son, and how sister, and how she nearly killed him in the womb. I'm like, yeah, that's how it went. They were unborn in the womb fighting each other, and she tried to choke Charles with their mother's umbilical cord. So yeah, I love that part. I love that. The Deadpool core was great as well, and I believe Blake Lively voiced Lady Pool, and I believe one of their children voiced Kid Pool, so that was pretty fun. That was really fun too. But this movie was just great, and I loved, like I said about Precise, when we saw Wolverine and Sabretooth, shouts out to Tyler Mane returning. Once that shit went down, and I'm like, yeah, that'll do it. Yeah, that'll do it. Like, I was like, yeah, Wolverine, he did the smart thing. He didn't go for the gut, or no, he went for the head. And the same thing with Laura. She was fighting, and she fought the Juggernaut, and she didn't go high. She went low and cut his legs off. I was a little kind of I was a little jaded with that. I was like, that may not have done that much, but you know, they're not saying that Juggernaut is magic based in this, so, but it was still fun to see. I really enjoyed it. This was so much fun. I had such a blast. The laughter, the jokes hit, the chemistry between Hugh and Ryan was perfect. And to see Wolverine put on that motherfucking mask, I'm like, oh my, I nearly had a hard on for that. I was like, God damn, that was damn near perfect. And I love that he was joking about, yeah, it looks like Batman, but he can move his neck. Just the jokes, you know, you know, and there was even Blade made some joke. Wesley made some jokes about that. He said a line like, "Motherfuckers are still screaming up ice." I was like, I love the line where he says, "There's only one blade," and the look Deadpool gives to the camera, like, yeah, it was pretty funny. That it was funny. It was just great. I was not expecting all those cameos. I was not expecting, but I'm glad Mr. Reynolds did it. I'm glad he brought him. I'm glad he brought Channing Tatum. At least he could say he got to play Gambit. After that Gambit movie was in a debacle. And I'm saying right now, hire Channing Tatum back as Gambit. He was damn near perfect. I loved him. Just the way he fought. He was throwing the cards. He charged up the cards a couple of times and delayed them till they exploded. It looked great. It made that piss poor excuse version from the comedy Wolverine Origins look like a welfare case. He was damn near perfect. And I could not stop just in awe. And every time he opened his mouth and talked, I'm like, yeah, he's Cajun. So he should not be sounding just Southern. It was perfect. I loved it. I so much loved it. And I would love to see those characters come back. Some of them come back. The music was great. All the music that they played in here. Hugh again got in a great shape for this role. I mean, Hugh is 55 now, and I'm not no excuse, but he got in great shape. There was one point where he actually showed off his upper body. I'm like, yeah, he was lifting. Again, him explaining why he is the way he is, and it was a good explanation, because that was also the crux of this movie as well. It was like explaining why this Wolverine is kind of the worst Wolverine in a sense. So it was really good. I really enjoyed it. I think Nathan Fillion also voiced a Deadpool in this too, but yeah, it was great. It was really fun. I enjoyed it very much. If I was giving it a rating, it was damn near a perfect 10, man. It wasn't taking itself serious. That's the whole point. What they went with made sense from point A to point B, and I loved it. Would I? A lot of people say, I guess Hugh is just, you can't change him. I'm gonna be honest. Yes, I agree with that, but I wouldn't mind if Henry Cavill came back as Wolverine, the true MCU Wolverine, because I'm like, he looked damn near perfect too. But outside of that, guys, I had so much fun with this movie. Not one moment where I felt bored. Not one moment did I feel like, okay, did I miss something? I'm helping people that's next to me, understanding what's going on, who's that character, everything like that. And when these movies come out and I get to kind of let my inner geek out and explain to people who that is, and who these characters are, it's fun. It's a lot of fun. So I did enjoy that. But yeah, I just relaxed and had some fun, laughing, joking, of the jokes. The jokes were funny, and we talk about Hugh Jackman, but Ryan Reynolds is Deadpool. I don't see anybody else playing Deadpool but Ryan Reynolds, and he was great. So, guys, there you have it. My thoughts / review, whatever you want to call this, of Deadpool and Wolverine. This is finally got to see a movie in theaters. I have not been able to see a lot of movies this year in theaters. I've been watching most of these movies that I wanted to see in theaters now on digital, like when they come out, so I watch them. But outside of that, it was fun. What am I going to see next? Please don't ask me if I'm going to see Aliens, because the answer is no. I'm not going to see anything with the facehuggers. Hell no. Yes, guys, I'm still freaking scared of them. They creep me out. I can't get over that. I'm sorry. They don't. I tried. I have tried, and they just creep me out, man. They just creep the hell out of me. They really do. But I'm thinking about seeing that Borderlands movie, and I'm not a big Borderlands player. I don't play the games, but you know, I actually want to see that. Actually, it looks pretty fun. But with that being said, and there's the thunder. With that being said, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this. You guys take care. I hope you guys said you wanted to hear me talk about it. There you go. You got your wish. I'll see you guys next time. Deuces. We out.